Hi everyone, this is Kim from KILA Create Printables. So welcome to this tutorial. Today I'm working with the Romantic Regency cutaway journal pages. If you haven't already seen the tutorial for the cover for this journal, you might like to go and have a look at that. I used an existing Jane Austen book that I found at my local thrift store, and I cut out the book block and decorated the cover. So today I'm going to prepare my signatures and sew those into this cover. So what I've got, these are the Romantic Regency pages from my Etsy store. So I've cut most of them out, but I left this one because I just wanted to show you how they work. So they just come with this section that you just cut away the white space, and when you fold them, they have this nice effect. So depending how you place them in the journal, it is, will look nice. You can put lace behind them, you can put other paper behind them, you could turn them into pockets and all sorts of things. Okay, so what I've done is I've printed out the whole set. So there are 6 lovely ladies, 3 on one side and 3 on the other side. And then there's also another 6 pages in this kit that are regular size journal pages. And I've printed everything out, and then I've flipped them all over, and I've used various sheets of my coloured patterned papers, which are also available in my Etsy store. So I've got the sepia, the red, the blue, and I've also used, I think I've only just used those 3 colours. So there's also green and pink and purple available, but I thought that these 3 colours go best with these pages. Okay, so what I'm going to do is finish cutting out that one page, and then I'm going to assemble these signatures. I'm also going to use some tea-dyed papers. Now these are actually original tea-dyed papers, so these are ones that I've dyed. You can, in my Etsy store, find these. I digitize them so that they can be downloaded and printed out. So that's also available in my Etsy store. I'll leave links to all of these listings down below. All right, so I'm going to go away. I'm going to cut this out, and then I'll come back with some form of organized chaos, I suppose. I'll be back soon. Okay, so I've assembled my signatures. I'll just mention here too that I actually, with my pages, have printed these out at a smaller size, just because when they're a full-size A4 sheet, they were too big to go in this already existing book cover. So I've printed them out sort of just with trial and error with the size, just to make sure that when the journal's closed, they're not sticking out this edge. So that's why there's a little bit more space than I probably would have liked top and bottom, but I sort of was going off how wide the pages are when folded. So I think I ended up with around about 85% I printed these at, but depending on what size book you might be using for your cover will depend on how much you need to reduce the size of your pages if that's what you're going to do for your project. Okay, so I'll put the cover aside for now. So I've decided that I just want to have 2 signatures in this journal. So I've put the pages together. I've also included some other things like doilies, and I've got some tea-dyed papers like I mentioned before, and I've also got a page from the actual book block that I cut out of that cover. I thought it was just interesting because it had a chronology of Jane Austen's from birth to death, so I thought that was quite interesting, so I thought I'd include that. And then I've also got in here sheet music, another doily, and just some more tea-dyed papers. So I've decided 2 signatures probably for this one, just because the spine is not as wide as what I would normally use. It's around about 3.5 centimeters, so 1.5 inches, which I think trying to squeeze 3 signatures into that might be a little bit too squishy. Okay, so my plan, I quite like this blue paper that's already existing in the book, so I want to leave that intact. So what I'm going to do is and I want to have a hidden spine. So this is a different way that you can bind or put your signatures into your journal, instead of sewing them straight through the spine, I'm going to actually attach them to some card and some calico fabric. So I'll glue the fabric to that piece of cardboard and then fix it in like this so that we won't see any stitching, because I love this lace on the spine, so I didn't want to detract from that. Okay, so I've got my piece of fabric. I've made myself a template on where I'm going to poke my holes to sew in my 2 signatures. And I've also got a stamp here because obviously Jane Austen is an author. I wanted to have some form of nice, lovely handwriting text on this piece of fabric. So I have no idea where I got this stamp from. I can't remember, but I'm sure that you could find something similar from your local craft store or online. Okay, so I'm just going to get started on this and sit back and follow along. I'll see how I go with putting these signatures into this journal. Okay, so I think that's worked pretty well. I really like this effect with the torn edge of the fabric, and I think it's turned out really lovely. So the next step, I guess, is to go through and decorate, do some decorating. So I might get started on that. I'll just, before I do, show you this. There are a couple of printables here that are available as freebies in my Etsy group. So there's a set of pockets that match the Romantic Regency range, and there's also an envelope. So the envelope I gave away back in January, so it'll be a little bit further down the list, but you can find these in the files section of my Facebook group. So if you aren't already a member, pop over and find me over there. I'll put the link down below, and you can grab these printables for free. All right, so I'm going to go and cut these out. I've also prepared the Romantic Regency ephemera pack. I've cut all of those pieces of ephemera out. I probably won't use everything, but I've got a nice selection here of little bits and pieces that I can use to decorate this journal. And then I've also got a page that I've taken from the book block, the original book block that was in this cover, and I'm going to use that somewhere. And then I've got a whole stack of lace, and I've also got some pieces of embroidery that I've just found at my local thrift store that I thought I might cut up and see what I can do with those. All right, so I'm just going to go and cut these out, and I'll be back. Okay, so I've cut out those pockets, and I've cut the envelope out and put that together, and I've inked all the edges. I've got my ephemera ready to go, and some thrift store finds, and the page from the book. And then I've also got this page that I ended up printing it twice because I accidentally printed the paper on the back upside down, so I thought I'd make use of that as well. So I'll get started and see what I can come up with decorating this journal. Okay, I might just leave it there for this video. We've done quite a bit of decorating. We've added all of the pockets and some lace and some other beautiful things. So I'll be back with another video where I'm going to go through and do some fun things with some of the ephemera from the ephemera pack. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed crafting along with me as I worked on this Romantic Regency journal. Don't forget to check the description down below for links to my Etsy store, and come and find my Facebook group where you can join in lots of crafting fun and download a stack of freebies.